Hello. Hello. Anyone around here speak basketball?
This is Adam Silver.
Vision 6'9". Almost done saying that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball
Podcast.
I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, in, I believe, a Maple Leafs t-shirt are you?
Go Spezza!
Oh, yeah, Spezza.
He's up
Yeah,
there in the
I'm
booth.
Popcorn
He's getting
fan,
hot
so.
dogs for Dubas. Can't wait. Yeah, Fred, it's me, your producer, Matt Duncan. How are you doing on this glorious Tuesday of our season 10 finale and our first full season at Raptors Republic?
I'm doing good. It's the best goddamn day of my life. No, I mean, I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah, dude. Great
Huge.
season. We got
Great.
some great guests to cap it off, and
Mhm.
yeah, if for whatever reason it's your first time tuning in, we're with Raptors Republic. We're NBA / Raptors pod. We're gonna start with NBA today,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's juicy. We got a lot of stuff going on, so
Yeah.
I think let's get it. Let's go to you first, Oren. Yeah, I thought this might be fun because and I probably should have specified this, but I'm going by seeding. So for instance, like Lakers or Warriors or whatever are technically underdogs, but yeah, the 8 first round series. Who are your obviously a couple games have happened, but who are you calling to upset?
Yeah, I probably should have asked to clarify this when you just gave us an opportunity to ask if any of your questions were confusing.
Yeah.
Because I want to start off here, and maybe this is more of a discussion than me making a point. But do we all agree that the Warriors are toast? Because, like you said, that wouldn't technically be an upset. They are the 6th seed, but everyone picked them going in. They're down 0-2. So I will give you a real prediction of an upset, but I just want to ask because I think the Warriors are toast. Do you guys agree with that?
No, I still
yeah.
believe. I still
You
believe.
still believe?
We believe.
Yeah, we believe Warriors. They got Baron Davis is gonna suit up. Shit's gonna go down. He's gonna pull up his shirt. I do think I said the Warriors in 7. I still think that it's not likely, but I still think it's possible. Yeah, the Kings have looked absolutely magical, but I do think that the Warriors I can be better and play better, and it sounds cliche, but sort of like have some of that like whatever championship winner dust that they can sprinkle on.
I think the reason I'm still skeptical is because it's the Warriors. I maybe I still haven't seen enough. Like, it's weird. Last night's game was one of those games they usually win. It's like close
Yes.
and back and forth. It feels okay. Draymond's ejected. It gives them life, and like they're supposed to rally and somehow win. They always win those type of games, even in the regular season. Those are the type of games that they always end up winning, which kind of goes to Oren's point where it's like, man, they seem kind of toast, but at home they're a completely different team. They're probably going to win. I would probably assume they win both of these games unless Sacramento pulls out something crazy. I wouldn't be surprised at that either. I still am reluctant to completely say they're toast, though. And I actually would say I wouldn't be surprised if they rally off like the next 4 and win in 6. I know it would be crazy, but yeah, I could see that happening.
My own counter
Okay.
is Malik Monk. I didn't really factor him in as like such a beast. Like
He's
I
been
know he's
awesome.
been having
Yeah.
a great season, but like sort of just how fluid he looks, I think is sort of the one thing where I'm kind of I feel like the Kings are running on adrenaline, and when and if that adrenaline slows down, that's the Warriors in. But I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe it won't. But
I also
Oren,
say like The
Sorry.
Warriors I feel like the Warriors are the type of team that needs something to piss them off, and that Sabonis Draymond thing is like the perfect catalyst for that. I know it's such a like cliche thing to say, but
It's not
I don't know.
cliche.
Maybe it
It's
is.
just like, all right, you better figure it out because you're
Yeah.
down 2-0. Okay, I'll make the case then because I thought you guys were going to agree with me. So forget my other prediction. I think I'll pick the Kings. It is an upset because everyone picked against them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, that was definitely a game the Warriors should have won and tend to win, and kind of a game I think they had to win because we're not talking about Draymond might get suspended for a must-win game 3. Like, I don't know what is actually going to happen. None of us do, but there's a real, I don't know, 20% chance, let's say, that he just doesn't play in that game. And if he doesn't play, I don't see how they beat this Kings team. I think everything you guys are saying is like the reason to believe in them is just like that championship residue and everything and the experience. But I'm out. Like, if you objectively watch those 2 games and forgot about the past,
Yeah.
you would say the Kings are a significantly better deep team, more well coached, better chemistry, all of that stuff. And I think the continuity really matters here. Like, the Kings just look like they've been playing together all season, haven't had any injuries. They've got really lucky with that. And the Warriors, on the other hand, are like starting Andrew Wiggins in game 2. Like, he's been away for 2 months. His jump shot's going in, but like honestly, Wiggins looks better than I expected. Their bench, they bring 3 guards off the bench in Poole, Payton, and DiVincenzo, and they play like these really small lineups. And you would think you could get away with that against the Kings, and I think they have defensively largely, but offensively, it's like if Steph's not hitting step back threes or Clay's not coming around a screen at 100% speed and nailing a 3, like, what is their offense?
Yeah.
I don't see it. And I have to talk about Poole. Like, is Poole the new Duncan Robinson? Is Poole that bad? Like, I'm almost there right now. I think he's close to Duncan Robinson territory, and nobody
That's
wants to talk
wild. Okay,
Bro, he's stunk this series. Stunk.
He's looked bad. I don't think he's Duncan Robinson. I think he has more explosion in his game, like, and self-creation. So I'm not going all the way Duncan Robinson, but I do think that I don't know, he maybe had a bit of the Zach Lowe effect with like the pool party, then all the nicknames and kind of like people just sort of getting on him. And that Warriors run last year was like pretty special. Like, there's a lot of kind of contributors other than the big 3. Like, Clay wasn't that great, like, I mean, for Clay standards last year in the playoffs. So I feel like with Clay kind of coming back, like, the room for Poole to take all these heat check shots has evaporated a bit. And
Maybe he's Jamal Crawford. Okay, so like in the sense that, okay, a lot of people love the Jamal Crawford allure, like crafty, gets to the bucket, like scores, all that stuff, but he's not actually as good as people say he is. He's not actually like, he shouldn't be as revered as he is, but he just is because of the skill. Maybe he's like that territory. I don't know if I could leap all the way to Duncan Robinson yet. I mean, Duncan Robinson is bad. Duncan Robinson is like unplayable in a basketball series right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did play the other night and he didn't look great.
That is true.
I'm being extreme, but like, the fact that Poole got 16 minutes last night was unwarranted. I think he's playing based off of like, we need some juice, you better get your stuff going. And he has a way longer leash than Robinson does because of the years of like, I was a Poole guy. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was a Poole guy. I thought he could have been an interesting Raptors trade piece for a while there. But this season has been so bad for me. And like, for what this team needs, they don't need a guy to come off the bench and like throw 3 turnovers. Like, it's just, I guess what I'm saying is it's worrying me that for 2 years we've been like, Poole, stop throwing these wild turnovers. Stop attacking the basket when you have no lane and throwing up like a thing at the rim. And he's just not adjusted his game at all. Like, there's no doubt there's a ton of skill there. I love his juice off the bounce, but I don't know, the development for me hasn't really been there. So I'm obviously being hot takey. He's not in Duncan Robinson territory. He is inching there every game of this series.
I have a question for you guys. Okay.
Sure.
I have a question. I have two questions, a two-parter. Okay.
Oh my God.
First,
Here we go.
when it comes to Warriors and Kings, step or stomp? Was it a step or a stomp? That's the second part to this. Okay. The other one is, would you guys rather have Austin Reeves on your basketball team or Jordan Poole on your basketball team? Next. Those are the two questions I have. Yeah.
Austin Reeves is significantly better right now.
I agree.
Austin Reeves right now for sure, but I mean, like, that's sort of. I always have a tough time when people are they get hot and then sort of like trying to judge like, is this who that person is? Like, I know LeBron was like, I knew right away he wasn't a two-way player, and it's like, oh, okay, sure, but also kind of like, do we know that he's like this like dominant in the playoffs guy? And also for me, I feel like it was like a stomp, like the musical stomp, like it was like a dance. It was he stomped, then he jumped, and then he kind of like did this weird heel click. Yeah. No, he stomped. I think
he stomped.
Yeah, I think stomp would be a better way to put it. He Draymonded. That's how I would put it. He Draymonded. Like he did a thing, and then as soon as he did it, he realized like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that thing, and then he overcompensated by like yelling at the crowd and stuff.
Oh my God!
But yeah, we've seen this like so many times, and that's why I brought up the suspension. Is like Draymond has been suspended for much less, right? Like the LeBron kicking the nuts thing.
He should be suspended. Like you can't let that go. I don't think.
I kind of agree with you. So you go into Game 3 without Draymond. And yeah, I'll say it's a stomp, and I'll say Austin Reeves very confidently.
So wait, just to sort of jump back a little bit. Do you have any? Yeah, we go. I mean, I think the Warriors thing, that's the most interesting thing going on right now. Although I mean, we've had some pretty good games so far. I think the Knicks Cavs series is juicy as all hell. But what's like? Do you have another? Is there another sort of upset candidate? Is it New York?
I would say that. Yeah, I think the Knicks are a good one. I had the Cavs winning it in 6 or 7, but I just don't know. Because like the issue the Cavs have had all season is that they're so one-track minded with their offense sometimes. Like it just comes from one area. It's either Mitchell or Garland, and they're both trying to like kind of create stuff off the dribble. And if that doesn't work, they really don't have another source to get things going. Like LeVert has been that sometimes. Osman has been that sometimes, but that's not enough to beat this Knicks team, to be honest with you. So I don't know. Unless Mobley and Allen, they randomly start just like feasting in the interior, which they didn't do in Game 1. I feel like I switch it and I go Knicks in 6 or 7 versus Cavs in 6 or 7. And then the other one, maybe this is like more obvious, but the Lakers, I feel like they'll probably win this series, especially with Ja and the whole hand thing. Like if he's not like, I just saw a tweet the other day, or actually a couple of hours ago, that he's not even dribbling with the right hand. Like he's only using it to guide some shots in. So I don't know how he's going to look at all if he plays in this series. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Lakers probably win that series. Those are the two that I would say, other than the Warriors, that seems like the most likely upset candidates. But hey, question for y'all. Again, I'm sorry, Freddie. I'm hijacking here. What about the Clippers and Suns? The Clippers look good, man.
That was my real upset that I was going to bring to the table. But like, I don't believe in it nearly as much as the Kings one.
Same.
But I legit think the Clippers have a chance. I think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series. I think the Suns probably win tonight. But like, it's the same thing with the Kings. It's like, like Kawhi hasn't played that much, but the Clippers have so much more continuity than the Suns and depth. And those two things just really matter. And we saw that in the first game. Like outside of the big four on the Suns, there's just not a whole lot of good players on that team. And like that can't be overstated. If you don't have a good 5, 6, 7, you're kind of screwed in the playoffs. And I understand like the top 4, nobody comes close to that type of skill in the whole league. But I've been down on the Suns compared to like logic. And I think if the Clippers don't beat them, the Nuggets definitely beat them. Like that's just where I'm at with the Suns.
You're not gonna win playoff games with Terrence Ross and Ish Wainwright and Torrey Craig and Josh Okogie as like your your other guys. You're just not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
What about
I mean,
Biombo?
they might because like Kevin Durant is so good and Booker is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Those guys will be better than they were in their first game, but it's also about Chris Paul. And that's what it's always been about. Like, if teams are leaving Chris Paul open or defending that pick and roll 2-on-2, he has to just be better and more aggressive. And since all season, actually, he just hasn't been. So I don't know why people think that switch is just going to flip in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think where I'm at with the Suns is I feel like it sounds insane as a Torontonian to even entertain the idea of doubting Kawhi. But I feel like he did play 41 minutes. I'm just looking at, Durant played 44 minutes, which is wild. But, I think Durant has like greater heights in this series, like as soon as next game, not necessarily than Kawhi, but I think Durant sort of, like you said, can be so good that he can sort of, alter this series. And I mean, we've seen Kawhi do it. He might just be superhuman this whole series and then the Clippers win. But I feel like I think Booker can do better and sort of like get on a major heater at some point. I mean, yeah, the Suns' depth, that's real. And Chris Paul looks like a whole another year, whatever, closer to 40.
Older.
So
Yeah.
that's a thing.
I have a Shams bomb to drop on us here at the Confederacy of Dunks podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, give it to me,
Shams.
Shams.
Shams Charania said it is unlikely Warriors forward Draymond Green will be suspended for Game 3 versus the Kings after stomping, whatever you want to call it, on Domantas Sabonis. So,
Wow.
yeah, he's probably going to play.
And is he quoting Draymond's pod?
No,
imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of wild to me because I mean, whatever the Draymond suspensions, like if you go through them in history, I feel like when he does and doesn't get suspended, like there's not a lot of continuity there. Like karate kick Steven Adams in the nuts, no suspension. Accident, like whatever, like lightly tap LeBron suspension. Like I don't know, like it's for me, it's hard to tell sort of like when the NBA is like, oh fuck, suspend him. You know what I mean?
I'll
Like,
tell you when, if he stepped on LeBron, he'd be suspended. Like the NBA,
yes.
Narratives actually matter a lot when it comes to the NBA's decision making, which is really stupid and it shouldn't work that way, but it does. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that even though Draymond has this bad reputation, also if they suspended him, he'd be like, well, if it was anyone else, they wouldn't get suspended. It's because I have a bad reputation. And somehow that like works to his benefit. In some situations, I think
he wields that well, like his sort of like the victimhood part of it. It's like, but you're the instigator. But he does seem to kind of like, I don't know, flip. Like he gaslights well. I feel like
he's a genius on and off the court.
Just like before we move on, what do you think about like is the Miami thing real? Like playoff Jimmy and the back injury to Giannis. Like I still feel like if the Bucks won in like 5 or 6, I wouldn't be like that surprised. But I don't know, like watching Giannis crawl around, I was like that might be like a whatever, a smashed disc or something. Like it looked bad.
Smash disc. That sounds painful as hell.
I just made that up, by the way. That's not real.
I think even without Giannis, they probably end up winning that series. Just because Hero's out too, and the Heat don't have a lot of guys just to throw out there. They're already like missing a lot of depth. They need that. So I don't know. I think they handle that well. But like, let's say second round, they play the Cavs or the Knicks and you're not playing Giannis now, or maybe Giannis isn't 100%. Now you get into issues where it's like, hey, maybe the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Can you guys imagine that? Like that just, it's wild to even think of it. We could have a Knicks Conference Finals and a Kings Conference Finals in the same season, which is just, it's crazy to think of and consider. But no, I think they probably handle the Heat pretty well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think even without Giannis, they'll win that series. I didn't see the game, so I can't speak to it, but I think Giannis is a superhero. So, like, he'll come back from that injury somehow. Like, I truly believe that. If it's not this round, the next round, But no, I actually think like if you ask me to bet right now, the Kings are going to the conference finals. I'm all in on the Kings. Like
I love
like
it.
they got
Yeah.
to
They're
beat
fun,
the
man.
Lakers. You're telling me they got to beat the Lakers? Can't keep up with that team.
No,
Up
no,
and
they
down the
can't.
court, they can't. I don't know, man. I'm all in on the Kings.
Hey man, I want to shout out Mike Brown because I feel like in this series, not enough people are talking about how much experience he has with the Warriors,
Mhm.
and going up against them and their system, and sort of like all the offensive stuff he's brought to the table for the Kings. Like I think like he's really kind of coached the hell out of Sacramento this year.
They're running the same
Yeah.
plays. They're running literally the same. Like they do the exact same actions, the same split actions, the same dribble handoffs. It's all the same, which is funny. And I think that's what makes this series so good. It's because both sides know exactly what the other is going to do. Both sides know exactly what the other is going to try. It just comes down to like the offensive rebounding, the turnovers, the who's going to make shots today, who's going to be. I think that's what makes the series so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's shot making because, like you guys said, they know the schemes, and like even like they're prepared to defend it because they've been defending it in practice against each other all season.
Yeah.
But that's why I believe in the Kings. It's like Monk is going to make shots, Herter is going to make shots, Fox has been fantastic, Sabonis bounced back really well. Like they just have a lot of guys who you have trust in, and the Warriors, I literally trust one guy to make shots.
And I think even Mitchell has been like pretty like explosive on defense. It's weird to talk about defense in a series like that, but there are instances where someone changes a shot or whatever. Let me go to you, Oren. Yeah, and this one's weird. And whatever. If no one has a good answer, that's good. But well, I guess it's not good, but it's fine. But huge Raptors offseason for obvious reasons. And, I think so much of the conversation swirls around, in terms of roster, like, how are we going to get better? What are the changes going to be? I think no one really entertains the idea of getting rid of Scotty for obvious reasons. So, kind of a double whammy. But if you sort of like had to choose one person other than Scotty that is like, in your opinion, should not be moved under any circumstance, and also if you had to pick a player that had to be moved on the roster that isn't one of the UFAs, Gary, Yak, or Fred, who would they be?
Yeah, this just took a turn for the worst.
Yeah, sorry everybody. We were having fun.
It's not even. It's just me. I'm just so sick of talking about the Raptors. Honestly, my answer would have been different. 3 months ago at the trade deadline, like I was pretty adamant that you have to hold on to Siakam and figure it out that way. But I do think some stuff has really changed between getting Pirtle and seeing Siakam tail off and seeing OG go in the positive direction and seeing the clunky fit between Siakam and Barnes, that I'm definitely more open to it, just to moving Siakam. Like, I didn't think I would ever get there because, I mean, he's been my favorite player for a while too, but I was like in the OG camp for a while. I'm now at a place where it's like, I don't want to give up on this guy because he's starting to show some real on-ball juice. He's clearly a great fit with Scotty. Like, those two just mesh so well together. And with Pirtle and Scotty, like, I don't know if there can be a front court with three guys who can't shoot, and I don't believe in any of their shooting coming around. So if you're going to make me say, well, can I just say Fred? I guess I could just say Fred. I would say Fred.
Fred is the guy that you want out for sure.
Isn't he technically a UFA? Are we?
Yeah,
are we
I was saying no UFAs because I feel like it's
okay,
hard.
let me answer your question. Someone I'm going to keep, I'm going to say OG.
Okay.
Someone, and then the second part of your question is, who would I move? Oh, yeah, I did have to. Who would I move on if it's not a UFA? I guess you're basically asking me to pick between OG and Siakam, right? Because I can't say Chris Boucher. Can
I mean, I was gonna say Boucher actually.
I? I would say Boucher or Precious then. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready to move on from either of those guys for the right price. Just because you need to rebalance the roster. There's too many forwards, and I'm sick of seeing it. Like
that's basically my point. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'll let Ez go first, but that's for that part of it, that is exactly where I'm coming from. But what about you as sort of like have to get rid of?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I have the option of picking between all of the guys who you can possibly move that aren't UFAs, then yeah, I mean, Boucher and Precious are the guys to go with. But if it's between Pascal and OG, I look at it like this. It's like Pascal has shown he can be like a top 20, top 15, maybe at times player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
He's due for a contract extension. He's going to get a lot of money, maybe not supermax money, but a lot of money. I don't think he gets all NBA this year. I would be surprised if he does.
That's going to hurt his money.
But yeah, I mean, I think he loses maybe close to $100 million, which is tough, man. That's a tough pill to swallow. So I would say
bet on himself, right? He could bet on
Yeah.
himself, not sign a contract, try to get a supermax, try to get an all NBA, and then
do it again. Yeah. Or it would be like the vet extension supermax too, so it would be like a lot more than what it. I don't know. I have to double check.
No, I think only one of those things is true, from what I understand. Like either you get the 10-year max, or you get the supermax based on all NBA.
Right. Okay, I got you. I would probably say I agree with Oren in the sense that, like, okay, at the trade deadline, I was a hard no on moving Siakam, and now I've warmed up to the idea, but I still think I'm team OG, just because this team seems like it wants to compete, and he seems like the one guy that you can go out and get, bench players for, rotation guys for, that can round out this roster. And if your goal is to compete around Siakam and Pirtle and Fred and whoever the hell, then it probably makes sense to get that guy, OG, as the guy who you're moving out of the equation, because right now it's still a work in progress. Like, I agree that the on-ball juice has been a little bit better. He looked really, really great to end the season, but some of the things that he does for the, I guess, quote unquote, elite part of this team, if you're thinking about like the spot up shooting, the defense, it can be replicated. I don't think you can replicate the defense that he plays. Like, he's a phenomenal defender, but you can somehow squeeze the juice out of this team, even without OG on the roster. I believe that. With Pascal, it becomes a lot more difficult. Like, if you're moving Pascal, you're choosing, hey, we're resetting this thing. Let's move in a different direction. And if they choose to do that, that's fine. I'm cool with that direction. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if the Raptors are intending to compete, which, hey, they traded a 2024 first round pick for, so they probably are intending to compete, it wouldn't make sense to move Pascal in that situation.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Oren.
No, I agree. Just like to be clear, I think the only way you do trade Pascal is if you're going in a different direction and you want to go younger and do a kind of mini rebuild. Because, if you want to win right now,
you got to be bad next year if you move Pascal. Like, you got to say, hey, we'll move Fred for whatever. Right. We'll move let Gary walk. Probably re-sign Jakob, and now it's like, okay, your team is Jakob, Scotty, and OG, and then Malachi Flynn and Jeff Doughton. That's, you have to be very bad next year.
Yeah, and that's what my answer would be. Like, you shouldn't trade either of those two, because you already gave away your pick next year. You want to be good, and I think if you trade either OG or Pascal, you're getting pretty significantly worse. So
that's where I'm at. I feel like if you were to trade Pascal, you have to be like bad fast and effectively. And maybe I'm too scarred as a Raptor fan, but I'm nervous to bank the entire franchise, like the entire future, on A, Scotty staying forever, and B, Scotty being like a perennial all NBA superstar. Yeah, just based on his skill level or like what he's been showing so far. Cause like there's lots of special Scotty stuff, but I wonder, what is like the finished product of a player that we're looking at. And then I also feel like a big thing for me with Pascal is that he has a really interesting career arc in that he hasn't been this superstar forever, and he's kind of like, if his story is that he rose up really fast, got the like most improved player, became the number one guy or whatever, and then was only there for a short period of time and sort of acquiesced to Scotty. Like, I feel like he's the type of person who would take that well. Like, I don't see him as being, this like a Trey Young type, or, someone who's sort of like the guy right away, being built around. Like, to me, he can fit in. Yeah. I mean, I think Oren's point about shooting, I don't fully believe in Pascal as a shooter, but I think if you tell him, hey, Scotty's going to occupy the middle, like, that's what we're doing. I think that he would put the required work into being a better catch and shoot three guy. But I mean, yeah, that's easier said than done. And like, he definitely didn't come into the league as a shooter. So
no, but I want to like hit on that point on the opposite side of things, because what you said about his story making him more likely to play like a second fiddle might be true, but also I think there might be a lot of room to grow still. And like, we don't think about it that way because he's almost 30 or whatever, but
totally,
he's not a guy I want to trade, because then when you look back on it 2 years from now, I would not be surprised if Pascal was like a first team All NBA guy. I just think every year he's gotten better.
For sure.
The mid-range game is getting better. And yeah, but I feel like we've gone to this central problem, which is that there's not enough spacing on the team, yet you don't want to trade either of these guys. Like, I even look at a situation like Cleveland, where it's like, you can have a front court that has no shooting. None of those guys shoot threes. Like, Okoro doesn't shoot, Mobley and Allen don't shoot. But you have to have two prolific pull-up shooters in the backcourt. And the Raptors don't have that, right? So
they had him for one season. They had him for one season, but then they just stopped shooting as effectively. Like, it just. Sorry, go ahead. That was the only thing I was going to say.
You mean Gary and Fred?
Yeah, well, I mean, technically, if you Gary is not a great pull-up shooter, regardless. But like, yes, if you wanted to say good shooting, they had it for a season. It worked. They got to where they needed to, but. Yeah, it stopped afterwards. It was not good.
Yeah. That's why OG is also an interesting trade candidate, because, like, if you turned him into Donovan Mitchell back in the summer, which is a huge what if I think the Raptors should have done.
Yeah, I agree.
In hindsight, it's easier to say. Then the team just makes a ton more sense, even, So I think that's kind of where they're kind of screwed, is that there's no real way of getting out of this short of trading one of those guys. But yeah, that would hurt.
And yet, this is like a couple minutes back, but I really think that part of the, Vision 6-9 thing is that sort of, for me, there was always kind of like, I was wondering how much it was like what we were trying to do versus Masai kind of like Masai and Bobby trying to corner a particular type of player in the asset market to later be traded. And I think that, I think for me, the Boucher Precious thing has run its course, and, Thaddeus Young, whatever, Birch is gone. But I mean, like, Boucher, I enjoy as a player, but if you can trade Boucher for a guy that hits threes on a regular basis, I think it sort of just gives so much more balance to this team.
Or just someone who can handle the rock also. Like, just
And
just a playmaker. Yeah.
I kind of like Precious because he's like still this like really sort of cheap contract. Whereas I feel like Boucher, we signed to is it 12 mil?
Yeah, something around there. Yeah.
You trade him for like, I mean, whatever, like some Joe Ingles type. Although, you know what? Sorry, I don't want to trade. I don't want another person like who's in auto territory where it's like, they may or may not get injured and not play. Like, I'd rather trade Boucher for someone who's young and can shoot. Duncan Robinson. No. But no.
I mean, hey, you might be able to get him. You might be
Jordan
able to get
Poole,
him.
man. Jordan Poole's right there. He'll be there this summer. I'll tell you that.
I mean, that would be, I don't know. Although, yeah, I guess if he's in now Duncan Robinson territory, maybe also no.
The Raptors are so like deprived of players like Jordan Poole that I think it would be so welcomed to what he can provide. Like, yeah, I guess Gary provides some of the reckless shooting, pull up stuff that he does, but no, I mean, in terms of like getting to the basket, creating for himself, like it's a different level. We haven't seen a guy like that since DeRozan, honestly. That's.
They need a guy like that for sure. I want to ask you guys, where you guys at with Gary? Because I've seen a lot of people say you can't lose. I hate the asset word, but you can't lose the asset for nothing. Therefore, you need to pay him. Hope he recoups his value, has a better season, and then you can look to trading him down the line. Is that where you guys are at with him this summer?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I am not as low on Gary as others. Like, I definitely think that he's one-dimensional or whatever, but I just think that he's like young, it's proven he can score, had a lot of adjusting versus like the starters and the bench. And he's one of the, I feel like with, all of our UFAs, like, well, I'm sure we'll talk about this, or I'll talk about it more this summer, but like, I really think that, thinking about Scotty and like all these big picture things later down the line, it's like it's not like the Raptors have ever been like a cap room team where we can lure big free agents if we do have cap room. Like it's a pretty bleak list. I don't know if Jose Calderon's like the best. You know what I mean? It's like sort of it's not good. So I think you kind of have to sign people to trade them. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with Gary, which doesn't bode. It's not very confident, but I mean, I think you kind of gotta keep him.
It's kind of similar to what we said with Poole, but like they're so deprived of guys who can do stuff that Gary does that it makes it feel like they need him more than they actually do. But they do need a guy like that. They need a guy who can like do the dribble handoff stuff with Pascal and be the guy like on the opposite corner that Pascal can kick out to if there's like a double team. Like that's the type of stuff you need. And if Gary was a guy who wasn't expecting a contract, this situation would be so much easier because you're like, yes, absolutely, keep this guy. This is a guy who, like, at the current value he's at, makes tons of sense for this team. But depending on the type of money he's looking for, I would not be surprised. It's just all this conversation we're having right now, it really depends on what direction they want to go. If they want to go young, if they want to just tear everything down, it probably makes sense to keep a guy like Gary, who's also pretty young, like you can keep Scotty and OG.
And he clearly wants a bigger role.
Yeah.
But exactly. I think there is, like, I don't know why we think that because they traded for Pirtle. So I don't know why we wouldn't be under the assumption that they want to go young. And
exactly.
I think, like, I keep seeing this idea out there that, well, first I'll just say on Gary, I'm pretty as low as you can be. Like, if they lost him for nothing, I would just say, man, that Norm trade really
it's sucks. Tough. That's
Norm
tough.
is really good, and I wish they just paid Norm. But like at a certain point, you need to see a young guy develop. And like, what has Gary really gotten better at in his 2 years as a Raptor?
Mm-hmm.
Not defense.
Nope.
Not passing.
Nope.
So
even the shooting has not been better. Like he hasn't gotten better as a shooter at all. It's pretty much stayed the same, or if anything, it's gotten worse, So
yeah, I'm just biased. He's not my type of player, like those one-dimensional guys. So it wouldn't like be the end of the world to me if they lost him for nothing. But yeah, I feel like everyone just assumes the Raptors, because how the season ended so embarrassingly, they like feel compelled to make these big moves. Like I saw a tweet today that was like, I'm happy they lost in the play-in because now the front office can't just be like, oh, we got to the playoffs, it's all good, we'll run it back. Like, I think they're going to run it back.
They're going to run it back.
Yeah, for sure they are.
They're going to run it back with a better bench. I think Gary will be gone. And, like, that's fully what I expect from this front office.
I think people...
And a new coach.
Yeah, and a new coach. Yeah, I think like...
Yes.
I think people underestimate how much, like, front offices don't like tearing down because it requires so much confidence from ownership to be like, hey, we're going to completely change this roster. And by the way, like the team is going to suck for like 4 or 5 years. And are you okay with ticket sales not being that great? And jersey sales. So I don't think the Raptors are interested in that, especially with them trading first round picks. Like it just doesn't seem that's what they're in for. So if they're trying to compete, then it comes back to the conversation we started this with. And it's like, okay, how are you going to piece together the team with the money situation and the roster situation and then the bench situation? How are you going to fill out this roster and like thread that very, very freaking thin needle? You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. There's so much uncertainty with this offseason. And it's surprising to me that we haven't heard from Masai or Bobby yet. Like they usually do it a few days after, you know, the players, they do the end of it. And maybe Oren can divulge more on that, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
Give us the goods, man. We already got the shares, Mom.
No, this is completely unsourced, but the feeling I get from it, which I think is the feeling most people around the team get from it, is that they're seriously considering letting their coach go, and there's no point in having a press conference if you're going to fire your coach 2 days later and then have another press conference.
Yeah, wait until it all happens.
That's how I feel. Like whether or not they've decided, they're having it's just I think it has to do with the coaching situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like, you know, I mean, this is old sort of like zeitgeist stuff, but the first time I ever heard like the coach doesn't matter was like Bill Simmons' Big Book of Basketball. And that was his take. That was his take, that coaches barely matter. Then they barely move the needle, and it's not really
I don't hate that take. I don't hate that take, honestly.
I used to be like sort of like all about that, but then I feel like there's a thing about head coaches where like it's about they're the like the media rep, they're just such a like they speak to anyone more than like they speak for the team more than anybody else. And I even remember when Nash got let go, I was like, what's that going to do? But you know, I think like Jacques Vaughn came in and was like, oh wait, this guy's actually got a much better handle on like what's going on, and like it just feels better. Or like Bickerstaff or whatever. Like I think
we talked about Mike Brown earlier, right? Like we talked about
like, and it's not necessarily that a new coach will be better, but I think that like there's a tone change sometimes that is like just feels better.
Sometimes you need a new boss, dude. Like sometimes have you guys ever been in a work situation and you're like, dude, I really fucking hate that guy that is
I've
my
hated
boss.
every boss I've had.
I've never, you know what? Shout out Steve, love you, bro. But like, no, but like usually you're just like, yo.
Steve. he talks to me all the time about how good you are, Steve. Okay, we're cool. All right.
No, but usually you're like, bro, I need a little bit of a change up. And that's why a lot of people change their jobs, right? I think the same thing applies to players. It's like you need a different voice every now and then, because sometimes shit just does not get through. You don't like the message isn't received as well if you're constantly dealing with the same voice and the same repetition and same everything. You know, you need a little change up. That's it.
But yeah, guys, I mean, this has been awesome. Thank you both so much. We'll bring Maddie in here, but first let me go to you, Oren. What's up? What do you got going on? I know you do a lot of Canadian basketball stuff, so like, you know, please hit us with what's coming up.
I'm taking a little mental health break right now. Now that the season ends,
Nice.
I'm literally bunkered up here, reading, not thinking about work. So this is the first time I thought about the Raptors in a while. So yeah,
thank you.
I have nothing exciting to report other than this summer will be a big one for Canadian basketball, but that's in like July and August when the men's team goes to the World Cup. So I'm not sure how I'll be writing in that capacity, but I'll definitely be doing something somewhere about the World Cup.
Cool. Well, man, thank you. I mean, you know, please take your mental health seriously. Go say hi to Alun. Like, I hope.
Yeah, for sure. Chill. I gotta find a real one. Yeah.
Yeah. Ez, what's up? What do you got going on?
Nothing. Just chilling. Just I definitely do need a mental health couple weeks, but not done yet. I got to finish out this NBA season here. Doing some, you know, video content, podcasts, and all that fun stuff. Nothing on the radar, like in terms of anything new. I wrote about offensive rebounding in the playoffs. If you guys want to go read that, that'd be cool. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Everyone who listened, you know, support these guys, read their work, and Yeah, huge thank you to we're still this is like about a year with us being with Raptors Republic. It's been awesome, and the season hasn't been awesome, but like it's been a great year. It's been really fun, and thanks to everyone who supported us, and yeah, we really appreciate it. Matt, let me go to you. You can hit us with the plugs, or just say "Go Leafs, go!" Like whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll just sum up real quick. Thanks for listening to our season 10 that we've done here at Raptors Republic, our first full year. Now we will be switching to a bi-weekly schedule. So we will be back in 2 weeks, and we will be kind of continuing on with about 2 episodes per month until the new NBA season in mid to late October. And yeah, just go to raptorsrepublic.com, support the paywall if you can. That would be great. And check us out on the podcatchers. If you watched on YouTube, please please comment, and go to the podcatchers to listen to the full episode. We put a few segments up on YouTube, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Beauty. Well, Matt, if you feel like we're done, we're good to go. Please just give me those words I love so much. Okay.
Listen to full episodes of the Confederacy of Dunks only on the Rapcast.